I found the picture by accident. I was only trying to update the Wi-Fi password on Juan's phone. He had left it on the kitchen counter. No lock screen. Just open, like it wanted me to find it. There it was, Lydia, my wife, wearing nothing but the look she used to give me on our honeymoon, pressed against the hotel room window. And Juan, my own blood, standing behind her with a grin on his face like he just won the damn lottery. I stood there, unable to move. My hands shook, but not from anger, from grief, from betrayal, from the weight of 1,000 memories now burning in my throat. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break every plate in that kitchen. But instead, I called her sister. I sent Nellie a simple text. I need you to come over. Alone. And that was the beginning of my revenge. Before I go any further, I want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone watching this story. If you're already subscribed to this channel, I truly appreciate your support. And if you are new or returning but have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Your subscription is the fuel that powers this channel and helps stories like mine reach people who need to hear them. Also, do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your take on this betrayal. Now, let me take you back to how everything really started falling apart. My name is Clayton. I am 55 years old, born and raised right here in Columbus, Ohio. I work in carpentry, 40 years in the trade. I married Lydia when we were both young, full of big dreams and blind trust. She was my whole world. We never had children of our own. It just never happened. So when my sister's son, Juan, lost both of his parents in a car crash 5 years ago, Lydia and I took him in. He was only 18 back then. A quiet, polite kid. I raised him like a son, paid for his community college, taught him how to drive, showed him how to change his oil and shave properly. And Lydia, she treated him like a prince. At first, I thought it was just maternal instinct. She fussed over his meals, ironed his clothes, rubbed his shoulders after work. I thought she just saw him as the child we never had. But something changed about a year ago. Juan started acting distant. Lydia started wearing perfume to bed. They both got quiet every time I walked into a room. It was like I was living in a home built on whispers. I wanted to believe I was imagining things, that I was tired, paranoid, but the signs kept piling up like a slow avalanche. Then came the night Juan forgot his phone unlocked on the kitchen counter. I did not confront them right away. No, I sat in the dark for hours, staring at that image burned into my mind. I kept hearing my own voice whispering, "She chose him. Your wife chose your nephew." But I did not want justice. I wanted something deeper. I wanted her to hurt the way I hurt. That is when I picked up my phone and texted Lydia's sister, Nellie. She was 43, divorced, and always had a bit of a wild side. She never liked Lydia much either. Nellie arrived the next evening. She walked in, took one look at my face, and said, "What happened?" I poured 2 glasses of whiskey and told her the truth, every sick, twisted detail. And she just listened. No shock, no judgment, just this quiet fury in her eyes. She said, "You are not crazy, Clayton. Lydia has always had poison in her, even as a kid." I stared at her, and for the first time in days, I felt seen. As the sun went down and the room filled with silence and shadows, Nellie stood up and walked toward me. And in that moment, I made a decision that changed everything again. Nellie stood in front of me, her eyes locked on mine, not with lust, but with something darker. Recognition, solidarity, a kind of shared destruction neither of us could fully name. She touched my shoulder gently and said, You deserve better than that mess. I do not remember who moved first, but I do remember how natural it felt. Her hand in mine, her forehead resting against my chest. We stood there in silence for a long time. No words, no plan, just pain and closeness. I did not sleep with her that night, but I wanted to. Every fiber of me was craving something. Comfort, control, revenge. Anything to dull the betrayal. We sat up drinking and talking until 2 in the morning. Nellie told me stories about Lydia I never knew. How she had a history of twisting the truth, turning men against one another, always craving attention. She said Lydia once dated a married professor in college and nearly ruined his life. I stared at her. Why did you never tell me any of this before? She shrugged. You looked happy. I did not want to be the one to pull your world apart. It was the first time someone admitted they saw the cracks in Lydia before I did. Over the next few days, Nellie and I got closer. She began visiting the house more often. At first, under the excuse of checking on me, but it quickly became something else. Lydia started noticing. She would watch us from the hallway, lips tight, arms folded. One barely spoke to me. The house became a battlefield of silence and side glances. One evening, Lydia confronted me in the garage. Why is my sister always here? I looked her dead in the eye and said, maybe I needed a little affection too. Her face went pale. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I walked past her like she was a ghost. That night, Nellie and I crossed a line. We did not talk about it. We just let it happen. But afterward, I could feel something shift inside me. It was not just revenge. It was release. Years of holding everything together, pretending Lydia still loved me the way I loved her, all came crashing down. But it was not just me who changed. Nellie changed too. She started texting me in the middle of the day. She brought over groceries, made dinner, laughed more. It almost felt like something real. And yet, I knew the truth. This was not love. This was two broken people clinging to each other in the middle of a storm. A week later, Lydia came home early from a church event. She walked into the living room and found me and Nellie sitting close, too close. My hand was resting on Nellie's leg. Her head was leaning on my shoulder. Lydia froze. She dropped her keys on the floor. I stood up slowly, heart pounding. Nellie looked at her and said nothing. Lydia whispered, "What are you doing?" And I said, without blinking, "I am surviving." Her eyes welled up with tears, not from heartbreak, from pride, from rage, from the realization that she no longer had the upper hand. One walked into the room right then. His face turned white when he saw all three of us in that frozen triangle. "Uncle?" he said, voice cracking. I looked at him, the boy I raised like a son, and said, "You do not get to call me that anymore." Lydia screamed. One slammed the door. And Nellie? She just sat there, watching the fire burn. And I finally felt something I had not felt in years. Power. The day after everything exploded, the house felt like a crime scene. Quiet, still, heavy. Lydia moved into the guest bedroom. Without a word, she stopped speaking to me entirely. Juan left and went back to his mother's place in Cleveland. I heard he told her some twisted version of the story that made him look like the victim. That figures. Nellie kept her distance too, for a while. I think even she felt the line had been crossed one too many times. And me? I was not angry anymore. I was just tired. I spent those next few weeks thinking about everything. How love turns into resentment. How betrayal turns into bitterness. And how revenge, no matter how sweet in the moment, leave behind a poison that keeps eating you from the inside out. One morning, I walked into the kitchen and saw Lydia staring out the window. She did not look back at me, but she spoke. "I did love you once." I said, "I know." She turned slowly and looked me in the eye. So, why did you do it with Nellie? I took a long breath and told her the truth. Because you broke something in me I could never repair. And because she was there when you were not. She wiped her face with her sleeve. We are both monsters, then. No, I said quietly. We are just broken people who stopped being honest with each other. After that, we decided on counseling, not to fix the marriage, but to end it with dignity. We sold the house, split everything down the middle, and filed for divorce. Lydia moved in with her sister temporarily, which was awkward. I heard through a mutual friend that their relationship fell apart too. Nellie and I tried to keep in touch, but it was like trying to build a new house on a battlefield. The damage was already done. Juan? I have not seen him since that night. He blocked me on everything. My sister, his mother, refuses to speak to me. She believes Lydia's version, of course. But I did not tell this story for pity. I told it because maybe someone out there is sitting in a marriage full of secrets, pretending things are fine when they are not. Secrets rot the foundation. Lies poison everything they touch. And revenge? Revenge does not heal the wound. It just spread the infection. I loved Lydia once. I trusted my nephew like a son. I even leaned on Nellie when I should have leaned on myself. But in the end, what I learned is this. If you let betrayal define your actions, you become the very thing that broke you. So now I live alone. I cook for one. I walk my dog in the mornings and listen to jazz at night. I am learning to live without the noise of regret and to forgive myself one quiet day at a time. If this story hit you in any way, if it made you feel something, please do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your take. Do not forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel. Your support keeps these stories coming. Thank you for listening.